Andy, of course, from Wrestling Royalty, also representing Give Me a Hole. Yeah, so thank you very much for joining me on this Monday, Easter Monday as well. We are going to be talking about NXT Stand and Deliver 2024. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to be a really quick run through because I'm fully aware this is WrestleMania week. We've got a Raw watch along coming up on Give Me a Hole. Yeah. If you haven't watched it, myself and Dom have just done a review of Bray Wyatt Becoming Immortal, the new documentary that's just landed across on Peacock in the States. And I'm really keen to kind of go into a few different things. We are going to be predominantly talking about NXT Stand and Deliver and previewing all the card or the matches that have been announced so far, and maybe a couple that haven't as well. But yeah, let me know if you're in tonight. Give me a shout, say hello, just like Daniel Wiley is doing. Hello, how are you doing, Dan? Nice to see you in on a Monday. We've also got Mark kicking around as well, I believe. So hello to Mark as well. And yeah, we did a WrestleMania preview show on Thursday night with myself, Sam, and Dan from Give Me a Hole. Yeah. So if you want to go into that, it's a couple of hours, but it's a good preview show, if I do say so myself. We went into the matches that have been announced there. And I'd say you've got Dan on in a couple of hours as well, who'll be covering Monday Night Raw, which seems like it's going to be a stacked show because you've got Roman Reigns on there. The final boss, The Rock, is going to be on there. You've got a couple of matches that have been announced, like Sami Zayn's having a rematch with Big Bronson Reed. So definitely go check out Raw tonight. Let me know on the Monday before WrestleMania, how excited are you for WrestleMania? How excited are you for NXT Stand and Deliver? And with that being said, let me throw this up. And we're going to be going through them. And I will tell you right now, there's actually only 4 official matches so far. There is a 5th that we're just waiting on Tuesday night when we go into the tag team match that's going to be there. So we're going to kick things off. We're going to go through this. We have a triple threat match for the NXT North American Championship, where we have the champion Obafemi, who is going to be defending against Dijak, and he's also going to be defending against Josh Briggs. Now, this match was set up last week officially because we had a couple of different qualifying matches where you had the likes of Sean Spears on there. We also had Duke Hudson from Chase U as well. But this was the match that we ended up with as a triple threat. So this is very much a big guys, big meaty men slapping meat on this one. And I'd also be really keen to hear what your thoughts are on Obafemi's reign as North American champion. I personally believe, I understand why the belt was put on him, and it was to have that big impact and show that he's a big deal. But personally, I'm not sure if he's done too much since then. He had a couple of matches against the likes of Dragon Lee, but I kind of wanted to see a little bit more. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on Obafemi's reign as North American champion. I think personally, for all the work that came in the past and his matches, like years ago now when it was NXT Black and Gold, or the kind of tail end of that where he went against Keith Lee, I'd love to see Dijak have a run with the title. I think he has some great matches, very underrated. Even the stuff with Joe Gacy that we had, where it was that sort of like hardcore match with the toy cars and the Lego and the straight jackets and stuff. I was into it. I think Dijak's a great worker. Probably mishandled slightly when we had all the stuff over on the main roster, and with Mia Yim and the likes and Slapjack and all that sort of rubbish and nonsense that we had for, was it Retribution, I think they were called. And yeah, good to see he's back, and I think he's building something really impressive on NXT, and you keep your eyes peeled because I'm hoping there'll be a little bit more to do with some coverage on WrestleSphere about Dijak coming up as well. The guy is a big guy, very tall guy, but he moves very quickly. Josh Briggs obviously had built his reputation across in other places before he came across to NXT, was shoved into a tag team. Here, he's getting a chance to shine as an individual and a singles competitor. So, be really interested to see if Josh Briggs maybe has a chance to capture some gold of his own. But I know Sam's a big fan of his run over on TNA. As Dan says, if you could give this video a like, whether you watch on Give Me a Hole or Wrestling Royalty. We've got Alex Simons in as well. Hello. I hope you're having a lovely Monday and Easter Monday. If you've been off today, I hope you've had a lovely, relaxing day or very fun day. But good to have you in. Thank you very much for joining. tonight. And I'm going to go with a for a prediction on this one of Dijak to win. I think they're going to finally give him a belt, and I think it's going to be his chance to have a little bit of a run with some gold around his waist. I'm still not 100% sure on his character of being some sort of like enforcer, but I like that he's very snippy on the likes of social media, isn't afraid to talk his mind, and I think that he's had some great matches that he finally gets some deserved for, a good rub for. We're going to move on to the next match, which is Lyra Valkyria, the NXT Women's Champion, who's going up against a newly heel Roxanne Perez. And I must say, and we spoke about this on some of the other NXT Premium Live Event preview shows, I don't think that Lyra Valkyria's reign as champion has really hit the spot for me. I'm not overly fussed on this match at all, to be quite candid. I think the NXT was having a great run with the women, and they're very keen to showcase them. I don't know until recently whether I've fully invested in either of these as a sort of character to get behind. I don't really understand Lyra Valkyria and what she's supposed to be as champion. I think she'll always be the girl who kind of like looked up to Becky, won the title from her, and not much more. But I am glad to see Roxanne Perez has got a little bit of steel behind her. She's kind of had that attitude change where she's in it now. We've seen it done quite a few times, especially on NXT. But she's happy to steer into it. And I think maybe that fire was lit under her when she unfortunately had to drop the title last year before Stand and Deliver, and motivated her to get back to this point. So really good for her to have this spot again. It's a one-on-one. Last year, obviously, we had that pretty epic ladder match, and it was great to have that in as well. And yeah, just kind of excited to see, are they going to have a bit of a title change here? Are we going to see an extended run this time with Roxanne Perez? But again, I think taking that title away from Lyra Valkyria, letting her rediscover like who she is, what her character is, and what she's supposed to be moving forward is really important for her and her development. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm missing something, and I'm happy to admit that. But let me know, what do you think of Lyra? I just asked you what do you think of Obafemi as North American champion. What do you think of Lyra Valkyria, and what's her reign been like? Because have you been underwhelmed? Have you thought actually it's not been too bad? Personally, when you look back at the last couple of NXT champions before her, when you've got the likes of Becky Lynch and Tiffany Stratton, I really thought they were more rounded as a character and in the ring as well. I had a couple of comments in there from Mark. Dijak just looked like a less steroided Terminator. Yeah, he does. He wears that big kind of trench coat with the glasses and the boots and stuff like that. And we're going to get into Trick Williams versus Carmelo Hayes, and we'll go into all that kind of good stuff. But I think that's going to main event, so I'm going to leave it till last. We'll move on, which is strange because obviously I've just said I think Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes is going to go on last, which means that the current NXT Championship is very much gone into that reign of NXT Takeover New Orleans, where we saw that Aleister Black match didn't go on last. We got Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa in that unsanctioned match, and a lot of people said to this day that Aleister Black wasn't a great champion. He was overshadowed by that particular feud, and I really think they've kind of done the same thing here. I don't necessarily agree he wasn't a great NXT champion, but he was most definitely overshadowed by that DIY breakup and the feud all round. I think they're doing this, and to me, it's just not quite hitting the spot, having the NXT champion further down the card against someone who, up until recently, was in the tag team division, and then all of a sudden they've seemed to have picked up and wanted to push forward as a singles competitor in Tony D'Angelo, and the family and everything that kind of comes with it. I just think maybe it's a little bit hokey in terms of what they're striving for, and I don't think it would translate particularly well onto the current product that they're offering on Raw and SmackDown. It would have to be watered down because they're very much having these backstage or like these skits in the restaurant and on the bridges and stuff. And I don't think it's doing a lot for Ilya Dragunov right now. And personally, I want him up on the main roster. I know there's a lot of people in the chat, and we'll get to it, who are talking about the likes of Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes properly going up to Raw or SmackDown. I think Dragunov is ready and is such a great performer that he deserves to be up there too. But at NXT Stand and Deliver, the biggest event of NXT of the year, we are seeing Dragunov push down the card. And to me, that's not a great look for the championship. It's not a great look for the champion. I don't think the match between that they had on last Tuesday, where he fought the underboss, it stacks. I thought it made Dragunov look a little bit weak. I thought they were going to have him kind of destroy him and really kind of step up, but instead they're really painting that story that the family's doing their homework and they he stamped on his fingers, and Dragunov's one of the best sellers in the business. But I don't think they should have put him in a position where he's looking weak about 2 weeks away from the biggest show of the year. So for me, I really don't like it. And Mark saying, for me, this title match should be one side and barely 10 minutes. I actually agree. I think this is going to be one of those things where Dragunov has to look very strong coming out of this, because they need to re-solidify him as the champion, the face of the brand, because you've got this other match that's going to go on last, presumably. And Dragunov really needs to put his flag in the ground and say, actually, this is my brand. I believe I was reading earlier on, there's no immediate plans for Dragunov to kind of go up yet. That would suggest to me that he should be down there in Florida and building up the brand himself. So I really hope they use this as an opportunity to showcase just how brutal Dragunov can be and have him absolutely destroy Tony D on this one as well, and move forward from there. A couple of other matches that haven't been announced yet. I'd be surprised if they keep it as just a 5-match card. We'll go into the other ones there. But for me, I think it'd be strange for NXT, who have been massive advocates for the women's division, not to have another women's match on the card, on their biggest card of the year. I think we might see some sort of Thea Hale versus JC Jane match. I know they've got some stuff planned for NXT, but maybe we're angling that we're going to get some sort of 6-person tag match here. And as well, with so many championship matches on the card and that kind of blood feud between Hayes and Williams, we need some bits where it kind of like brings it down. Triple H is a big advocate for having these sort of peaks and troughs throughout, where you can kind of like build the crowd back up again, and you need these kind of matches in. And they've been building the JC Jane versus Thea Hale stuff for a little while, so I think we might see some sort of iteration of either a 6-woman tag or maybe just Thea Hale versus JC Jane. So watch this space on Tuesday. It could be something that's added in. Of course, the other match, we don't have a nice shiny match card picture that I can kind of throw up because it's not been confirmed in terms of who's fighting them yet. But we are going to get Bron Breakker and Baron Corbin in a tag team championship match. They'll be defending their titles against the winner of a match on Tuesday night, which is a triple threat match between the LWO, the Good Brothers, and Axiom versus Nathan Fraser. It all sounds a bit complicated, but basically one of those 3 teams, possibly more, will be going on to have a match at Stand and Deliver. Who would you like to see? Let me know in the comments. Who do you think is going to win that match and go on to face what they call themselves? Is it the Lone Wolves or the Lone Dogs or the Dog Wolves, Wolf Dogs? But yeah, be interested to see. I personally think Axiom and Nathan Fraser will be picking up the win here. They're the only ones that are sort of pure NXT guys. I think they've been doing some great work together. They're explosive, very, very quick. And they're the kind of guys who, if you're going to get 2 guys who are on the main roster, like Bron Breakker and potentially Baron Corbin going back on there, I think we're going to see that. Yes, Mark says that it's the Wolf Dogs, they're called. And yeah, I think it would be nice for a proper NXT tag team to get it. And Axiom, Nathan Fraser are excellent to watch in the ring. So I think we might see those guys go up against Bron Breakker and Baron Corbin. This will be, I think, the swan song for Bron Breakker, at least before he goes up to SmackDown. They've been obviously teasing him. They've had him on a couple of matches, but they've been putting on some of the those like stats and things that they did on the last episode of SmackDown, and they're really building Bron Breakker up to be something special in terms of like how quick he moves in the ring, how explosive he is you know, his stats of how high he can jump, etc. So I think this is going to be the end for Bron Breakker and Baron Corbin. And I personally think we'll see Axiom and Nathan Fraser pick up the win and get the tag team championships. But yeah, as Mark said, maybe we see Baron pick up he'll eat the pin, as it were, and that's why he'll be involved there. So you've all been talking about it. I know there are other things that are going on with Stand and Deliver. Metaphor are going to be special guest hosts for it. We might see a couple of debuts. Maybe we'll see the old school stuff where we'll see some new people, where we'll have some debutants or something sat ringside ready to go. Maybe we'll have something special happen. This is a very early start time for Stand and Deliver. I think it might even be earlier than noon now. I thought they moved it back to 11:30 or 11. So definitely check your local listings for that. But we are going to finish off by talking about this. I believe is going to be the main event. This is the match card. This is the image that they're using as the header for Stand and Deliver on the WWE.com website. So we're going to get Carmelo Hayes, who's on the right-hand side there, versus Trick Williams. If you haven't been watching, where have you been? This is what NXT has been focusing on for a little while now. Obviously, at the last Premium Live event we had for NXT, we saw that Carmelo Hayes stabbed Trick Williams in the back after his match against Ilya Dragunov. And then it's basically been a case of like back and forward of Carmelo Hayes saying that Trick Williams is nothing but a hanger-on. He's not good enough to be on his kind of level and things like that. But what we've also seen is we've seen this rise of Trick Williams. And Trick Williams is definitely, in my opinion, I would say he's more popular than Trick Williams than Carmelo Hayes has ever been. We're hearing that whoop that trick. He came out a few weeks ago on SmackDown before this disintegration happened, and even a SmackDown crowd was singing "Whoop That Trick." I was shocked by that. I thought that was amazing, a good shock. But I really liked that whole that even SmackDown and the main roster are paying attention to Trick Williams, and I think he's going to go places. I think it's a great success story. Of someone who can go from being, like maybe a sidekick and going on to be his own thing. And his time in NXT is very much not done. I think Carmelo Hayes is going to move up full time. But I think it's a great feud to be going out on. And it's a chance for him to put over Trick Williams on his way out as well. So I definitely see Trick Williams getting the win here. I think Trick Williams will have Lash Legend in his corner. That was a really weird moment because until I didn't know that Trick Williams and Lash Legend were together in real life. I thought it was a really playful way of doing that. Obviously, Metaphor are guest hosting, so do we see something like that where Lash Legend gets involved? Maybe not the right time for it because obviously this is it's been targeted and advertised as a blood feud. We had that kind of those three different parts of a video package on last Tuesday. I think we're getting one final showdown. We even had people like CM Punk and Randy Orton on the video for it, putting this over. So WWE's going gangbusters to try and make sure people have got their eyes on this particular match. So I think this is going to be one of the matches that hopefully everyone's talking about heading out of WrestleMania weekend. And a great way to start, that Saturday as well. So make sure that you are tuned in for it. I'm hoping they just give them, 20 minutes to leather each other throughout. And yeah, personally, I think it's going to be a great match. Alex said earlier on, and so did Daniel as well. I think it was Daniel said originally, Trick versus Melo is going to be a good match. Alex said, yeah, agrees. I think it's going to be a great match. Alex also said, I think either Trick Williams or Carmelo Hayes needs a main roster call it because I want to hear Whoop That Trick on Raw. Yeah, well, I think we've got like Carmelo Hayes has been a few times. Obviously, he was involved in the US Championship tournament and things before that. So I think Carmelo Hayes is SmackDown bound, as is Bron Breakker. But be interested to see where and when Trick Williams gets a call up as well. So it'd be great to see both guys in the future go up. Trick Williams needs a call up to the main roster. I could see him as a US champ. Yeah, I think his look is really interesting. I think he's maybe needs a little bit more polish in some of his ring work. But I think it's going to be one of those ones where keep him on NXT for a little bit longer, and put him up against the likes of Dragunov again, or people who are a little bit more maybe guys who come down from from the main roster onto NXT, give him a little bit of rub and show him that he can go over those kind of guys that are coming down as well. Daniel says, who wins this match though? It's going to be a banger of a match. I'm definitely nailing my colours to Trick Williams to win the match. I think it's the right thing to do, of him winning if he's going to stick around in NXT. I don't think Carmelo Hayes needs this win. You kind of want to see him, get his payback as well for. He didn't cost him the match, but indirectly kind of did, because obviously he tweaked his knee and things like that. So in the future we'll see Trick Williams go back for that title. But this is a great spot to be in. This is the one that everyone's talking about. And when we're inside the Wells Fargo arena, then, I think this is the match people are looking forward to. I'm certainly looking forward to singing Whoop That Trick live. Unfortunately, I won't hear Booker T on the commentary doing this thing. I think that's hilarious and really well done. But certainly one I'm very excited to see in person. So let me know if you're going to be watching this live. Is this an NXT Stand and Deliver that you're very excited for? Do you think it's maybe a couple of matches light? What would you like to see as well as? All good, all bad, let me know in the comments. But I'm going to wrap things up there. The reason why this is on a Monday night is because I would love to have done it on Wednesday. I will, however, be on an aeroplane across to Philadelphia. Keep your eyes peeled on both Wrestling Royalty, Give Me a Hell Yeah, and WrestleSphere. If you're not on there on social media, go follow, go like, all that good stuff, go subscribe, and you'll be the first to see some footage from on the ground when I'll be across in Philly at some indie shows, and as well as the NXT and WWE shows as well. If you are there and you see me, please come and say hello. I'd love to speak to you, and don't be afraid, don't be shy. I like to think I'm approachable, but if you are going, give me a shout, and I'd love to meet up with you as well. So yeah, just say hello. I really hope you enjoy your WrestleMania week, and just taking every minute. I hope you enjoy every single second of it, and go check out that preview show if you want to know a little bit more about our thoughts on the main roster, and really look forward to catching up with you when I'm back as well. Daniel says, is anyone from Gimme Hoya going? Just me this year. I guess I'm sort of in the Gimme Hoya family. So I hope I'm good enough for you, Daniel. I'll be representing Gimme Hoya. I'll be representing Wrestling Royalty, and of course WrestleSphere as well. So yes, in some way it's me. No one else is going, but who knows in the future. And I'll leave it on that note. It's been lovely to see you all on this Monday night, and I hope to catch you real soon. I've been Andy. This has been Gimme Hoya and Wrestling Royalty.